we're going to move on to agenda item number 9. Fiscal year 2015 draft predation management plan. Commissioner Macbeth, possible action.
Okay. We held our Wildlife Damage Management Committee meeting this morning. And pursuant to policy 23, we did review the draft predation management plan and the project reporting form, but we also had on the agenda as an informational item, we asked State Director of Wildlife Services, Mark Jensen, to put on a discussion of agendized as predation management strategies and variable spectrum predator project, and Mr. Jensen took the opportunity to wrap it around some of the projects that we had in the predation management plan, specifically Project 214, and laid out his objections and concerns to how that project was put together. And so we do have a PowerPoint that I'm going to ask that the department be distributed to all the rest of the commissioners and the cabs and the public with Mr. Jensen's concerns. And so we had a good dialogue, and I think the issue that came out of that, and it's somewhat frustrating to us because we have been going down the path through policy 23, development of policy 23. We put in specific provisions to get wildlife services to engage with the department to work out these plans, and apparently this was the first time that we got some input from wildlife services, and so somewhat disappointing that it took this long, but I'm still pleased that at least we're getting moving on that. And so again, had a good discussion, and I think I'm hoping that there's going to be some positives coming out of asking wildlife services to come in and speak and give their input. So that led into our predation management plan for 2015, and we had because the PowerPoint was a informational item, and since Mr. Jensen did use 2214 as a point in his PowerPoint, we moved right into our action item on the plan and had even further discussions with Mr. Jensen with regard to the plan and some of the projects. And so I think it was beneficial. I don't know if much is going to change in the way of what you're going to see as far as the plan being finalized, but I think the dialogue was good, and I think that what's going to happen is that hopefully we'll see a better interaction between wildlife services and the department. So what we had left on the table from our last predation management meeting was we had approved the projects in concept. It was an open item on project 22074, the Bighorn. There was a question whether we were going to move forward with that. We did get some input from the department. Russell with regard to what was actually and on the status of the Rocky Mountain Bighorn herd, and so we did get information that said yes, we should go forward with that project. But Commissioner Morai reminded us that we needed to go ahead and approve the budget for all the projects, and so that's what we embarked upon. And ultimately, there was a concern with regard to Project 22, and and having to do with the ability to deal with some of the sage-grouse issues that we didn't think that, based on some comments that Mark Jensen did, that we were going to have enough money in that to deal with some of the sage-grouse issues that were in other parts of the state, other than the Virginia Mountains, which is the subject of Project 2102. And so, and in addition, some additional funding for 2214. So, what we originally talked about was increasing Project 22 from 10,000 to 40,000, and Project 2214 from 50,000 to 60,000. But to do that, the original proposal was to reduce the amounts correspondingly to projects 30, 32, and 33. Some of the committee members felt uncomfortable about that, but the total budget actually had an additional approximately $58,000 in it, and what we ultimately proposed was to fund all of the projects. I'm trying to make this as easy as possible. All of the projects as proposed in the plan, and it's on page 3 in the table of context, has the funding as proposed is $338,000. And so ultimately the motion that passed as a recommendation from the commission was to increase Project 22 from 10,000 to 40,000, and Project 2214 from 50,000 to 60,000, and that increases the total from 338,000 to 378,000. And the committee moved unanimously to support the funding of 2015 Recreation Management Plan at those levels. In addition, the other item on the agenda was our project reporting form, and very fortunately, we have one of the contractors that has been involved, Trevor Walsh, who worked extensively with Pete Bradley before his retirement, and got a consensus on some of the issues that we had with the project reporting form, and so we knew that we had in-house consensus on that, and Mark Jensen also indicated that Wildlife Services was okay with the reporting form as long as the projects were designed properly to report on what the project was actually designed to do. And so I think everybody's on the same page on the project reporting form. So that's where we are. We voted to approve the project reporting form unanimously, and so that is my report. I've asked if any of the other commissioners on the committee have any additional comments. There was one other item that we did propose, and that is Project 22. The way that it's worded is mule deer and other big game protection statewide. And the motion basically, in addition to approving the additional funding, requested that we strike the word big. In other words, instead of limiting it to big game, that we just limit it to game. And then that way we can do predation projects with regard to ravens and any other species. So that was the recommendation of the committee. Any other committee members have any comments or additions to that?
I think you covered it really well.
That's it. So I think we need to take action to.
Okay, no committee members had any comments. Did any commissioners have any questions or comments about what happened at this morning's committee meeting? Okay, seeing none, this is an action item. We'll take it out to public comment. Let's start in Elko. Any public comment on agenda item number 9?
None from Las Vegas, Chairman.
Okay, thank you.
There you go.
Mr. Chairman, this is Elko.
Yes.
Just some comments I'd like to make. This is Tom Barnes, Chairman of the Elko County CAB. At our meeting, what we wanted to see was an increase in funding for Project 22-14 and an increase in funding for project 22-074. Just reason being that Elko has always supported money being spent on the ground for predator control, and that's kind of where we thought these projects went.
Okay, anybody else in Elko have any comment? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to Reno. Mr. Dixon, start with you.
Start with me. Thank you.
You were the first one to stand up.
Well, I was standing up and apologize for being out of the meeting for a second. So I was asking if you had gotten through public comment. For the record, Paul Dixon, Clark County. We have talked about the predator plan several times. I think Commissioner Macbeth we're like on the 4th round of this now for commission meetings, if I'm not mistaken. And we have went back and forth, and I think at our last CAB meeting, one of my CAB members, Vice Chairman Reese, finally basically stood up and said, I disagree. I like the predator plan. I understand what goes into the predator feed, and it involves basically sensitive species, which includes sage grouse and other things. And then he said, but I just really can't get behind Project 25. We had a long discussion, and the Clark County CAB said we could, and Project 25 is a coyote study in eating habits that was started under a prior commission. That's, I think, 3 or 4 years into its longevity. We had an extremely long discussion around this. And at the end, the Clark County CAB voted to support all of the projects except for Project 25. And although we may have in the past came to you with a unanimous decision on the predator plan, it changed last night at my CAB meeting after we had a lengthy discussion on Tuesday of this week. So I want to make sure that was clear because it's changed from the position that we've had in the past. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next? Public comment. Dr. Mullen? And we'll go with Sean.
Mr. Chairman, Don Mullen, it's true this discussion is going on for actually many years rather than just a few commission meetings. I just want to make my periodic reminder to everyone that in the last 10 years, at least with respect to mule deer numbers are flat. I mentioned this at the committee meeting, but for those in the audience who haven't looked recently, the last statewide mule deer estimate I saw on the website was 108,000, which is almost exactly the same as it was 10 years ago. And over that 10-year period, this commission has spent close to $5 million doing, quote, predator control. Not all of that has been necessarily aimed at deer, but the fact of the matter is statewide mule deer numbers are unchanged in 10 years despite several $1 million of money to change that. Just a reminder. With respect to 2214, this is just the worst kind of example of a project where if you want to decide what input or what management strategies did something, this is a project where there have been over 1,000 horses have been removed, apparently, in the recent past. Pinyon junipers being removed as well. And who knows what else is going on with respect to livestock grazing or predator control, whatever, who knows what. So that any change in numbers, given just those factors, is going to be impossible to sort out if you want to decide what input did what. And with respect to this particular budget, the request was for a $50,000 increment of payment to Wildlife Services to kill coyotes, I suppose. And for those in the audience who may not have been at the committee meeting, it costs about $650 to kill a coyote in this state. That's what Wildlife Services over the last 10 years in the Granite Range and Project 18 has spent. So giving them $50,000 to kill coyotes is approximately 77 coyotes. If you add another 10,000 to it, you can divide the $650 per animal into 10,000. You maybe get another 15 coyotes. So we're talking here spending $60,000 maybe of sportsmen's money to kill 70 or 80 coyotes in an area where already horses by the hundreds have been removed and pinyon junipers being destroyed as well. And hopefully some benefit will result at the end of it. I suspect it won't, but even if it does, you won't have a clue what accounted for it. And to spend 60 grand to kill a few coyotes when all these other management things have gone on the ground is absurd. Thank you.
Mr. Shea?
Sean Sherry, Washoe County Cap. I just want to get up here and say that we were all for this. It passed unanimously. It's been through a lot of drafts, and I think it's been cleaned up quite a bit. So I just want to put it on record.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission.
I'm not sure exactly. I should take a look at my policy 23. The commission isn't supposed to, either way, technically approving the plan. I'm trying to figure out what is the, what should be the motion as far as supporting, that's, okay, I got it. Then I would like to go ahead and make a motion that the commission support the Nevada Department of Wildlife 2015 final draft predation management plan and budget as proposed with the following changes. With respect to Project 22, increase the funding from 10,000 to 40,000. With regard to Project 2214, increase the funding from 50,000 to 60,000. And that will increase the total project budget from 338,000 to 378,000. And in addition, on Project 22, we're suggesting that we remove that name big, word big from that, and to make it clear that the funding is for all game protection, and including rabies. In addition, I'd like the motion to include the approval of the rest of the MDOW budget, administrative budget, which is an additional $162,360. And then I'll go ahead and just wrap my motion up that we also support the current final draft of the predation management project reporting form.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Can I get clarification on the second? I can't see, so. Commissioner Moore, I second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed unanimous. On my clock, it's 3:02. We're going to take a recess, and we'll be back going at 3:15.